When you spend a few $100s on a budget TV and end up with a picture that looks like a grainy YouTube clip, the regret can hit hard. I've seen enough cheap upgrade stories to know that the temptation to grab a smaller screen or a lower-priced brand can backfire the moment you try to watch a movie or a sports game with friends. That's why, before I even pressed record, I dug into the typical pain points people have with oversized 85-inch sets: the glare in bright rooms, the lag when you switch from streaming to a game console, and the hidden cost of needing a premium sound system to match the size. If you're on the fence about whether a giant 85-inch 4K mini LED is really worth the money, this review should give you a clearer picture. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of living room this TV is built for. An 85-inch screen dominates a space the size of a small home theater. If you have an open-plan area with a wall that can comfortably accommodate the TV's width and you often host movie nights or gaming sessions, the Sony K85XR50 can feel like a natural extension of the room. The mini LED backlight is the headline here. It gives you deeper blacks and a brighter peak than a standard LED panel, which matters a lot when you're watching HDR content at night or trying to keep the picture visible during the day with some sunlight. In practice, the difference shows up when you stream a recent sci-fi series. The nighttime city lights pop, and the darker corners retain detail without turning into mush. The XR processor and AI super resolution are Sony's way of saying we'll make the picture look sharper than the source. In real-world use, that means a 1080p clip upscaled to 4K can still look respectable on this screen. I tested a classic 1080p sports replay and the processor smoothed out the motion just enough that the details like the stitching on a football jersey remained readable, even from a few feet away. For gamers, the upscaling works similarly. Modern consoles push native 4K, but older titles benefit from the AI, which can make textures look less blurry. If you're someone who still keeps a collection of DVDs or plays a lot of retro games, that AI boost is a tangible perk. Now, Dolby Atmos is built into the TV's speaker array, but here's the practical takeaway. The built-in sound is certainly louder and more immersive than a typical flat-panel speaker set, but it still can't replace a dedicated soundbar for a full cinema experience. In a room with moderate acoustics, you'll hear the directional cues in a movie's soundtrack, but deep bass will remain subdued. If you were hoping the TV alone would cover you for high-impact action scenes, you might still need to budget for an external audio system. That said, the integrated audio does a decent job for everyday TV shows, news, and casual gaming. No need to crank the volume to max just to hear dialogue. One practical strength that often gets overlooked is the Google TV interface. Unlike a lot of smart TVs that lag when you open an app, Sony's implementation feels smooth. The remote's voice button is genuinely useful. You can say play the latest episode of The Crown and the TV pulls it up in a second. The interface remembers your preferences, so if you frequently switch between Netflix, Disney+, and a gaming console, you can pin those sources to the home screen for instant access. This reduces the menu juggling headache that some people experience with older smart platforms. For anyone who values a clutter-free, quick launch experience, the Google TV layer is a hidden convenience you'll appreciate day after day. On the flip side, the size of the TV introduces a couple of hidden trade-offs. The first is mounting. The unit weighs enough that a standard wall bracket can be risky. You'll want a reinforced mount rated for heavy loads. Installation isn't just a matter of drilling a few holes. You may need to reinforce studs or hire a professional, adding to the overall cost. Second, the screen's sheer scale can be a double-edged sword for eye strain. Sitting too close makes it feel like a cinema screen, but the field of view can become uncomfortable if you're not at a proper viewing distance, ideally about 1,012 feet away. If your room can't accommodate that distance, you might end up moving your head constantly, which defeats the immersive experience. Another practical weakness is the lack of variable refresh rate (VRR) support. If you're an avid competitive gamer who relies on low input lag and adaptive sync, the K85XR50 isn't the best match. The TV's response time is decent for most casual gaming, but the absence of VRR means you could see minor stutter during fast-paced shooters. For a family that enjoys occasional console gaming or uses the TV mainly for streaming and movies, this limitation is not a deal breaker. However, if esports performance is a priority, you might want to look at